Hello, and welcome back to the second session of the module of event designing and concept. I really hope you have gone through the first session of this module, because if you haven't, then you should. We advise you to do that, because the second session depends a lot on what you have learned in the first session. And if you've already done it, that's fantastic. And I really, really hope that you liked the first session and you learned a lot from it. And do you remember what you did in the first session? If you didn't, we are going to do a quick recap. And also let me tell you that the second session is equally and probably more exciting than the first one, because in this session, you're also going to learn a lot of creative ideation techniques and how to get ideas and so on and so forth. So are you ready for the second session? Let's move on. So before we move on to the next session, I think let's do a quick recap of the first session. And do any of you remember what we did in the first session? Yes. So the quick recap is, what is event concepts? Event concepts is nothing but thinking of a central theme or an idea for an event based on which you're going to create the entire event design. Say, for example, if you are going to throw a birthday party for your friend, and say you want to do a theme like a movie, which we discussed last time as well. So then the entire theme of the event, the entire design, the entire visualization of the event will be based on, say, the Hollywood or the Bollywood, which is the Indian film industry. The second thing that we did is, what is event design? So as I just explained, event design is nothing but how you're going to bring the event theme, the central theme, to life. For example, if you're going to do a sales conference, and the sales conference is on the theme of cricket, then the entire venue, the entire ambience, the way the speakers are presenting, the way your rewards are going to take place, the way the branding is being done, all of that will be done in theme of cricketing. Right? So it could be world cricket or it could be just Indian cricket. It completely depends who your audience is. So that is another example of an event design and how you're going to take the event ahead after you conceptualize it. The next thing that we learned is, yes, a lot of us think that, where do we get these themes from? How do we crack ideas? How do you know whether this theme is right or wrong? How do we do creative ideation? So we are going to discuss that in detail in this session as well. But in the first session, we touched upon it when we said how to conceptualize using creative ideation. And we learned some techniques as well. I don't know if you recall. If you don't, then you can refresh your memory. But at the same time, you need to know this because you're going to learn this in the second session. So if you recall, we talked about idea association, pattern forming, like how a brain is full of these idea dots of information, and to create an idea, you need to make associations of patterns which make complete logical sense. Yes. So taking from the end of session 1, the session 2 is all about techniques of creative ideation. So basically, we feel that we are not very creative. You might say that, how will I get ideas? I cannot think creatively. But worry not. There are a lot of techniques of creative ideation which will help you reach to an idea that you want, even if you feel you're not creative. Anyhow, it's a myth that we are not creative. Everyone is creative. Everyone can get ideas. But some people are probably more talented than others. Some people can think faster. For example, I have been in the industry for many years, and I have been doing this day in and day out. So maybe my thinking is a little faster than a lot of other people who are mostly into execution or production. But it doesn't mean that they cannot think. Some of the best ideas can also come from people who are actually not supposed to be creative per se, but they do think and they do get great ideas. So that is good news for all of you, and don't limit yourself when it comes to creative ideation. All right. Secondly, a lot of you might have questions. Where do we get ideas from? How do we get inspiration? Well, I'm going to tell you in this session, there's so many sources of inspiration for creative ideas. It is not funny. They're all around you. All you have to do is observe and look. And I'm going to tell you how you can use these ideas, especially for event concepts and event designing, and where you get the sources of creative ideation. So this session is actually technically divided into 2 parts. One is techniques of creative ideation, and the second is sources of ideas inspiration. So net session 2 is divided into 2A and 2B. So this is practically what all we're going to cover in this session. So let's move on to the next part of this session, which is techniques of creative ideation. Okay. Now, ideation is something which is all about creating or generating new ideas to solve a particular problem. So as we saw last time, we all have idea dots or information which is there in our heads. Now, when I ask a particular question or when I put a particular problem in front of you, automatically all those dots will join together to make an association or a pattern to give you a solution. Say, for example, you want to reach from one place to another. Say you are home and you want to reach office. Now, your mind knows all the information about where your home is, the location, and where your office is, what is the distance, how much time it will take, and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to go from home to office, then how are you going to travel? Now, again, your mind will start giving you a lot of ideas. So, okay, you can take a private car, or you can take an auto, or you can take a train, the bus. There's so many ideas, there's so many modes of transformation. But if you want to get the fastest, okay, now your problem is that you don't have enough time, and say you want to reach for a meeting and you're getting late. Now, your problem is that you want to take the fastest mode of transport. So your brain knows all the information. They also know that which is the fastest and the slowest mode of transport. It also knows that where there will be traffic, where there will not be traffic. So then immediately you will get an idea or a pattern that, you know what, the metro or the train is the fastest way to reach my office because it takes the least amount of time. So that's how your mind starts working towards a solution when faced with a problem. Okay, so this is automatic ideation based on the information, and sometimes the ideas that you get are going to be very unique and very innovative. Okay, now when it comes to event management, you also need to start thinking around a lot of constraints. There is something called a brief which the client will give you. The brief will have all the expectations and all the details from the client. What is it they want to do? Why they want to do? What is the objective? What is the budget? And you have all this information, and you also have the information of what is it that they want to, the audience to take away. What is the one message that they want to give? Now, that is the main crux of any brief and the starting point of your ideation. Okay. Once you have all that information, automatically you can use these techniques of ideation to create the central theme or the concept of the event. So we're going to talk about the client brief in detail a little later. But right now, I want to talk about the techniques of ideation. That is, what are these unique ways how you can generate a lot more ideas and faster. So are you ready? Are you willing? Are you excited? Raring to go on? Yes? So let's move on and let's look at the first step or the first tool of ideation. So the first tool of creative ideation is called brainstorming. Okay, now what is brainstorming? You must have heard of this word many, many times before, either in your school or your college, or maybe at your workplace. So brainstorming is nothing but a group of people sitting together and producing ideas. Okay, a lot of us actually prefer ideating in isolation. You know, a lot of creative people prefer that when they have a brief, they want to sit in a corner, they want to sit in a room and think on their own. Well, it is absolutely fine. If you think that you think better when you're alone, well, you can do individual brainstorming as well. But what happens is that sometimes two heads are better than one, as we say. So it's always, nice to have a team, or if you can get your colleagues together, you can get your friends together, or maybe you can even get a focused group discussion. Any group of people who have certain common interests can come together and think of ideas, do brainstorming, and come up with a variety of creative ideas, creative thoughts, and you never know what can spark that one big idea that you are looking for. And this ideation technique has actually been proven to be very, very effective. What also it does, it brings together all your colleagues, or it brings together friends. You can have fun, you're ideating. It can also make the team own up the event, because when their ideas are selected, or if their ideas are a part of the entire event, they get very excited. So do not judge people when they say that, I will give an idea. No idea is good or bad. No idea is supposed to, make the person feel that, this is not great or this is not good enough. No, all ideas are good. No ideas are bad. It just depends on whether the idea is useful at that point in time for that particular event, or to crack that particular theme or not. So this particular theme building exercise, as I call it, how do you do brainstorming? All right. So some things I've already explained to you, but let me tell you a little more in detail about brainstorming. So you have a group of people. Usually what we should do is there should be one moderator. There should be one moderator with, say, a blackboard or a whiteboard or whatever is available to you. So this moderator is somebody who is probably leading the event ideation, or somebody who's leading the pitch, in a particular agency, and they have a team of people. So gather this team of people in one closed room and invite everybody. Okay, don't say that this person cannot ideate, or this person is not creative. As I said, there's nothing like no one is creative. You don't know where the idea can come from. So one very interesting fact that I have read is that the idea of Amazon Prime came from the Amazon engineers and not from the Amazon creative thinkers, or from the brand people. It actually came from the engineers who are day in and day out creating logistical solutions, or they are creating new solutions for Amazon as a product. So it's fascinating, that even engineers are so creative. Also, I must tell you that I was a part of an ideation, a brainstorming session at a workshop where a big company was actually thinking of a new product. And I was one of the few creative people over there. And I was thinking that maybe I can help in adding value. But you will not believe that, the best ideas actually came from the operations people and from the engineering people of the team. So as I said, ideas can come from anywhere. Do not limit yourselves, especially when you're brainstorming, when you're group ideating, group thinking. All ideas are equally good. So invite everybody, let them come in the room. Then the moderator, what they should do is they should put the ideas on the board as and when people are speaking aloud. They should tell people that this is our requirement, this is the brief from the client, this is the kind of theme that we are looking for, but we don't know what exactly we want to do. So put the problem on the board and let everybody think, let everybody give their ideas. Do not judge anybody. Do not say that, this will not work. Do not kill the idea at that point in time. Just note it down. Just put it down on the board. Accept the ideas as they are coming. Now, they might not fit well, or they might not be relevant, but that does not matter in the first stage of brainstorming. All right. Otherwise, what happens is that when you start telling people this is not a good idea, sometimes people are very reserved and they feel, they feel very silly or embarrassed. So then they stop giving ideas. So what happens is if the first idea is not great, and you say, okay, this is not working, and then they will think when they're giving the second idea. Now, it is possible that the second idea is much better and it's actually a great pitch-winning idea, but you will miss out on it, right? So do not ever judge people on their ideation skills, or do not let them stop from giving you ideas, because anybody can think, as anybody can dance, anybody can think, anybody can write, anybody can cook, anybody can do anything. Let's not limit ourselves, all right? Choose the idea that fits. So after you have a list of all the ideas, you know for a fact that these are the ideas that go with the brand, or these are the ideas which might not work. All right. So you can shortlist the ideas, and again, everybody can regroup. Everybody can go out of the room for some time, and then after some time regroup, and then see all the shortlisted ideas, and then you can again figure out which ideas are working best or which are not working. And this is the job of the moderator, or the creative person, or the client servicing person who knows the brand very well, who knows the event very well. So if you are a creative person, if you're the creative planner, then you will have a say in which ideas are working well. If you are into servicing, that means if you are actually maintaining the relationship with the client, and you know the client very well, you know the pulse of the client, and you will know whether the client will like it or not. So it is up to you to choose the best idea which fits the client's brief and which you feel that will actually win you business. Okay, so moving on to the next section of how to brainstorm. As I said, that let every person give at least one idea. Do not, even if someone is not speaking, then you should allow them to speak, allow them to, or encourage them actually to give at least one idea from whatever they have. Okay, and do not judge them. Do not make fun of them. Keep it very playful, keeping energetic. Maybe you can play games during brainstorming. Maybe you can think of some activities while brainstorming, because if you create an environment which is very conducive to creative ideation, which is very nice, warm, and full of fun, then there are chances that more and new ideas will come in. All right. So conducting a brainstorming is actually an art. Okay. Do not brainstorm for too long a time. Keep it for limited, say about 1 hour or so, because after some time, what happens is that all the good ideas start coming in early on. Okay, and as you move on, the quality of ideas keeps deteriorating, because then some kind of boredom sets in, or some kind of there's a diminishing marginal utility. So once you have enough ideas, a lot of people will kind of switch off. So do not stretch your brainstorming timing. Keep it, say, to about an hour or so, and whatever ideas you get from there, you keep it on your board, shortlist from there, and then structure them well and see which connects best to the brief, and then take a decision which idea you want to go ahead with for the client. I hope you've understood this section, because after this, I'm going to take you to the next tip or the next technique of creative ideation. So a second technique of creative ideation is called rapid ideas. So rapid ideas is nothing but a form of brainstorming only, but the difference between this and brainstorming is that in rapid ideas, you give the audience only 60 seconds to whatever ideas come to their mind, they're supposed to share it with you. So you do not have a long period of time, but very, very quickly you say that, okay, this is my problem. Now you have 60 seconds, think of the whatever ideas come to your mind. Then whatever comes to the mind, you note it down and see, sometimes the best of ideas, come in the first 60 seconds. Sometimes people are really attuned to thinking very fast on their feet when they have less time or under pressure. This is something which I have also realized. And there are some people who can think really well under pressure. And events is a field where there's always going to be pressure. Clients really expect a lot from us. They will give you very, very little time to prepare for a pitch. They'll give you very little time to ideate, very little time to think, because times have changed a lot. The markets are very dynamic, and events is one form of marketing communication. So sometimes they take a lot of time to get back and say that this is what we want to do. Also, a lot of decision making depends on many people in a team. For example, one particular person in a team, in a marketing team, does not take decisions. They have a lot of hierarchy. They have junior, then have middle management, senior management. Everybody has a say in the process. So you need to be really quick thinking. You really need to be on your feet, and practice will make you perfect. And rapid ideas is one such technique which will really help you practice good ideation. So you can try it out the next time you're doing your event ideation. Third technique, which is also very effective, is called the 3x3 technique, also called as silent laddering. Now, it's a very interesting technique. Now, what happens is that one way of knowing whether an idea is good or bad is when you are saying or discussing an idea, when you're explaining an idea, if somebody can build on it. For example, your group of people, and say you have an idea on what should be your next big event be. Say, for example, you want to do a boat show. Okay. Now, if you feel that the idea is good, you will share it. But if others feel that the idea is not that great, they might give a very dull response. But if they think the idea is really good, then they will also get very excited, and they will start adding to your idea. And they will say things like, "Yes, boat show is a great idea. We can do a regatta. We can do jet skiing. We can actually do an offshore event." And many things, many thoughts will flow in automatically. So that means that your idea is really good. And silent laddering is something like that. Laddering means step by step. Now, when you are doing silent laddering, divide the people into groups of 3. Okay. Now each team gets a piece of paper. Say for example, you're a 9 or you're a 12, or if you're an even number, then maybe you can have 4. I mean, there is no hard and fast that you have to have 3 people, but minimum 3 people you need. Okay. Now give each of them a piece of paper, and each person from each team will write down one idea and pass it on to the next person of their team. Now the next person of the team will add on to that particular idea. Okay, whether they like it or not, doesn't matter. There is no judging here. They will add on to the first person's idea. And now the second person passes on to the third person, passes on the piece of paper to the third person, and the third person adds on to the second person's idea. So like this, step by step, they keep adding or laddering to the original concept or the original thought. And sometimes you never know, but you might have a whole bouquet of ideas only from one particular person or one particular team. I mean, it really works well. And you really know if your idea is good or bad by the way people respond to it. So try it out again the next time you're doing brainstorming with your team. And also you will get some really good ideas which you can take as options for clients from this brainstorming technique, right? Say, for example, the objective is the farewell of a CEO. Okay. Now, the first person will say something like, say, let's do a sit down dinner. The theme could be a sit down dinner, or it could be a skit, or it could be a celebrity interview. Like, these are some of the ideas that the first person will give. Okay. Then the second person will say, okay, sit down dinner is a good idea, plus with his favorite music. If you're doing the second idea, like a skit, maybe we can add on wine and cheese along with it. Then if you're doing a celebrity interview, maybe we can call his family for the celebrity interview. All right. So the second person has added to the first person's ideas, and see how beautiful this whole concept is developing. And there are three options, and each of these options is becoming stronger and stronger as the person is adding more and more ideas. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the fourth creative ideation technique, which is one of my favorite. It's called brain mapping, or it's called word mapping. Okay, well, what does word mapping or brain mapping do, and what does it mean? It's very simple. Say, for example, you take a word, a central word, a theme word like motivate. Okay, now when you take a theme word, each word gives rise to different thoughts. Say, for example, motivate gives energy, gives passion, inner drive, self-start, and so on and so forth. Now, there are no hard and fast rules here that these are the exact words that you also need to get. This is my brain mapping. So if you remember in the first session, we spoke about how each one of us, our brains work very differently. So my brain pattern will be different from yours. Okay, so this is your word map, and every word, every idea that you put out here can give you newer ideas. So this is just a technique of putting out yourself, expressing yourself, and you never know which word catches on and which word might actually give you an inspiration for the next big idea. All right. So say, again, I will repeat myself. Say motivate. It gives you energy, passion, self-start, inner drive. Okay. Now, when I say energy, again, energy will give you maybe 2-3 new words. Say fuel. All right. From fuel, it's start. You need fuel to start a car or go. Energy gives you happiness or mojo. Okay. And maybe you can think of something else over here. Maybe you have a different pattern or different way of thinking. The other word, the sub word that I get from motivate is say passion. Okay. From passion, there are newer words which will come to my mind. Say fire or madness. From madness, I get crazy, or I get wacky or innovative. From passion, I also get love or romance, happiness, so on and so forth. Yeah, if you see here, motivate, self-start. From self-start, I get inspiring. I get stories. From stories, I get books, and so on and so forth. So maybe here is an idea. Maybe here is an idea. Maybe here is an idea. You know, like fire, ignite. This is all about the inner drive. So inner drive gives you ambition, progress, grow. So depending on what your event is, as we was speaking earlier, say for example, if it's a sales conference. Now sales conference is all about motivating and all about telling them, yes, you can go and do it. Yes, in the year 2021 or whichever year you are in, you can do a great job. You need to just focus, and you need to have that drive in you. So this, say for example, you're energizing them, or this is all about the inner drive. So this could be one set of a theme option. This could be another set of theme option. You never know what might actually trigger an idea. So this really works well, actually, not just in event ideation, but in any ideation. Just try it and see. And I'm going to give you a quick creative exercise or a quick word which you can use to create your own word map. So now, if you have understood how word mapping works, I'm going to give you an exercise, and I'm going to give you your own word, which you can use to make your own word map. So this is your word. Do you recognize this picture? It's an apple. And put apple in the center of a page. Take a blank page, put apple in the center, and see what all words, what all main themes come out of your mind. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever words come out, take that and just start making your own word map. And you see the set of words will give you newer and newer ideas. As I said, these ideas could be for anything. It's not necessary for an event. Say, for example, the first word that comes to my mind when I say apple is health. And health opens up again a whole can of new ideas. For someone else, it could be juice. Okay, juice is all about food. So maybe food is also a huge theme, a huge big subject in itself. All right, and so on and so forth. So it completely depends on how you think and your patterns. And absolutely, there are no hard and fast rules about what kind of patterns you want to make. It's just how your mind operates and just how your mind thinks. And all our minds are beautiful, wonderful things. So don't restrict yourself. Make as many word maps as you want and just start practicing this technique. So next time you ideate or think for an event, everybody will come running to you and say that, you got the best ideas. The next technique of ideation that I want to talk about is very interesting and very exciting also, because this is something which also involves a little bit of role playing and a little bit of glamour. It's called celebrity brainstorming. What do you think this is? Does this mean that you're going to sit with a celebrity and brainstorm? How I wish. But what you can do is you can actually become a celebrity for some time, your favorite celebrity, for example, and you can start thinking like them. Isn't it interesting? All right. So you've seen a lot of mimic artists, for example, and then they start talking like a particular actor. So you don't have to mimic anybody, but you have to start mimic thinking them. Say, for example, think like a popular person, like your favorite movie star, or maybe a favorite author, or it could be the president of your own country. So say you pose a problem, that I have a problem. Say I have to host a dinner, or I have to host an event for a lot of VIPs, or for the CXOs. Then you put yourself in the place of any popular celebrity that you are fond of. Any celebrity, it could be maybe living or somebody who's passed away, somebody whom you idolize. It could be a political figure, it could be a figure in the literary field, it could be a musician, it could be a motivational speaker, it could be a film star. Anybody you like, you love, or you think that you can think like, or you know them very well, just think of them and say that if they were in your place, or if you were in their place, what would you do? How would you ideate? Okay, so for example, think about a series called Friends. Okay, I watch Friends, it's one of my favorite series. And take any one character, like Monica. So Monica is the event organizer, and she is very hard and fast, and she really, really likes to keep everybody on their toes when she's organizing an event. She's very precise, and she's got all the leadership qualities. So if I were Monica, what kind of a theme I would do to host a celebrity or a CXO party? What would I do? What kind of ideas would I think of? How would I organize it? And so on and so forth. Isn't it interesting? Okay. So how does celeb brainstorming help? Sometimes when you think like an important person, you completely get new ideas, new angles, new perspectives. You just don't know how it can start. Your brain will start functioning very differently, because your brain is a beautiful thing. We can imagine a lot of things. See how actors put themselves in different roles, and they become, even a young actor becomes a father, or an older actor can become 20 years younger nowadays, and they actually act and behave also that way. So your brain starts thinking or starts assuming that you are this particular person, and automatically it starts thinking like that person. All right, it might not be true, but that is the beauty of thinking. We can imagine, we can actually pretend to be somebody we are not, and that is what makes us human beings. Isn't it beautiful and wonderful? Right? So today only you can start thinking of a celebrity whom you think you can impersonate virtually, of course, and in your imagination. Not really. Please do not start impersonating anybody else. You are a beautiful individual and you have your own identity, but only for the brainstorming part. You can put yourself in that person's shoes, because you know the person well. You know how they think. You know how this political figure thinks. You know how this particular TV series actor or whoever you want thinks, and put yourself in their place and start thinking that you are them. All right, automatically your angle, your way of thinking will change. Okay, now which celebrity would you like to think that you are? Say Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is one of my favorite actors. He's given some super hit films like Mission Impossible. Now, Mission Impossible is actually a great theme if you go to see, say, for a motivation conference, a sales conference, or say a group team meeting. When you want to do team building, you give them a theme like Mission Impossible, give them a very difficult task to do. Say they have to crack a particular code and look for a hidden treasure somewhere, or say you give them a mission, that in 30 minutes, if you don't find this code, then the whole place will probably blow up, or the enemies will take over. I mean, you can role play a lot. You can actually think of these plots. So you can actually think of interesting themes and ideas and activities for your particular event, only if you start thinking like a celebrity. Isn't it interesting? So if Tom Cruise had to organize an event, how would he do it? What would he do? Right? Think about it and think of your next celebrity whom you want to think like. So we move on to the next technique of ideation, which is called mix and match. This again is actually a lot of fun. It's actually like a game. So if you were a kid and you like to play match the columns, this one is an easy peasy thing, and it will really give you some great ideas and you will not believe how. So let me take you through this. What are you supposed to do in mix and match? Just take a random set of words, okay, and next to each word write a word which is related to it, which is random also, but related in some way or the other, okay. And then what are you going to do? Say for example, phone. Say it's a random word. The other random word which is related to phone is ring. Then remote. What is related to remote? Maybe AC, or maybe you can think of TV. It completely depends on you. In pencil, from pencil I get, say, another related word called carbon. And the fourth word is pillow. And from pillow, I get sleep. Okay. So these are, this is like a set of words, 4 sets of words actually. And each set is somehow related to each other. Now, what are you supposed to do in mix and match? So the first set can stay as it is. But the second set of words, you're supposed to interchange or just randomly place next to the first set of words. So then what next? So what are you supposed to do is when you have the first set of words, say phone, remote, pencil, pillow, they stay as it is. And then you have the second set called carbon, sleep, AC, and ring. So what have I done? That instead of phone and ring, I have put carbon over there. Instead of remote and AC, I have put remote and sleep together. Instead of pencil and carbon, it's pencil and AC. And instead of pillow and sleep, it's pillow and ring. And now see that after mixing and matching the words, there are some ideas, some new set of ideas, a fresh set of ideas that we have got in the next text box. Look at the ideas over there. Phone and carbon. There's a name of a phone called carbon somewhere. So maybe they got a name like this. We don't know. Remote and sleep. So maybe it's a new product idea. Can someone invent a remote which puts you to sleep? It's a possibility. Anything can happen nowadays with technology. Pencil and AC. Can you create a pencil which changes color when it's cold? Possible? Yes, anything is possible, but it's just an idea, right? Pillow and ring. A pillow, which is like a swimming ring, maybe like we already have those travel pillows, right, which create a ring around you. It's also, who would have thought of these ideas? Who would have thought that these unique products that we're using every day are actually maybe a product of these kind of brainstorming techniques? Right? So tomorrow, when you are going somewhere to an event company, or if you go and work somewhere, please use these brainstorming techniques. They are just wonderful. Sometimes when you are, when you hit a stumbling block, or sometimes when you hit a roadblock of ideation, or when you don't have a solution to a problem, you just use this. You never know that you might actually strike something very different and strike gold. So I have an interesting fun fact to share about the impact of brainstorming. So I'm sure you'll have heard of these films called Toy Story or WALL-E or Finding Nemo. They're all made by this one company called Pixar Animation. So if you've seen this film, you would know what I'm talking about. Do you know how these films were created? They were the products of 160-minute brainstorming. So the people from Pixar, whoever is involved in making these films, they'd actually gone for lunch. And one fine day, they just came with these ideas. They just started doodling on a tissue paper and they started creating characters. And they had 4 stories. And well, these 4 stories made history. There were 4 stories, became 4 movies. And they created millions and millions of dollars. So just imagine 1 hour of brainstorming can actually give you millions of dollars worth of moolah. So the next time you have to ideate, or the next time you have to think of any event which can win you business, you know that brainstorming can be really effective. Please use one or all of these techniques, and I'm sure that you will get wonderful, wonderful ideas that can help you win pitches and help you win great, great business. And with that, we come to the end of the second session, part A, which is techniques of ideation. And in the next part, you will see the second session, part B, where we're going to talk about the sources or the secret pool of ideas. I hope you enjoyed session 2A, and session 2B is equally interesting. So see you there.